The introduction of the Agricultural Adjustment Act in the 20th century promised Americans an end to famine and malnourishment. The subsequent explosion of big agriculture shifted food production from the farm to the laboratory so that we could all have equal access to food. However, current subsidies for big agriculture have left local farmers at a disadvantage, and we now experience a monopoly over our produce, which has skyrocketed the price of fruits and vegetables. The result has been synthetic foods composed of additives and preservatives that are much more accessible to low-income neighborhoods. This structural problem is termed food injustice and refers to a geographical area with an absence of healthy, nutritious foods at affordable prices, while cheap, high-calorie, low-nutrient-based foods are readily available. According to the USDA, almost 24 million Americans live more than 1 mile from a grocery store and don't have access to transportation. Our mission is to create self-sustainable communities by providing food security to low-income neighborhoods through urban agriculture. We believe that our efforts can bring psychological benefits to the individual and in response will also transform the community by empowering them through their shared values and needs, ultimately improving their livelihood. By providing these areas with the basic needs they have been denied, we can help build a sense of belonging and community through a shared purpose. By taking part in something bigger than oneself, one can feel a sense of fulfillment and dignity in what they have contributed to the community. Punta Mona is a successful example of a type of closed-loop agricultural system surrounded by the idea of zero-waste farming and permaculture that we are proposing. Permaculture is a set of design principles that directly utilize the patterns and resilient features observed in natural ecosystems. Punta Mona embodies this philosophy through methods that use soil, plant waste, and animal waste as efficiently as possible. The Costa Rican farmers create nutrient-rich soil by using compost from other parts of the farm. For example, they use plant waste that comes from sugarcane as a resource. Rather than placing the excess sugarcane into heaps, which then takes a long time to decompose, it is fed directly to the pigs on the farm. The plant waste then gets processed into manure, and in turn, that animal waste goes directly into the soil as fertilizer. This is a closed-loop, self-sustaining farming model that has the ability to produce organic crops year-round by making the most efficient use out of limited resources such as water and energy in order to cut down on cost. The model is simple. It begins with plant waste being fed to animals. Then that animal waste is used to fertilize the soil. Finally, the crops grow out of nurtured soil that is free of harmful chemicals found in synthetic fertilizer. The system comes full circle, supporting and sustaining itself, otherwise known as a closed-loop circuit. This system is water and energy efficient, so that when it's implemented into an urban setting, the farm can offer shares of its crops at low fixed prices to families in its surrounding neighborhoods. Individuals within these communities will be offered employment and stipend for their work. They will be provided with fresh produce and on-site housing to support themselves as well. We believe that the urban community farming venture should not only feed the community that supports it, but also act as a source of stability for those who contribute to its yield. The community farm can itself be a closed-loop system that feeds, employs, and houses the people whom it is designed to serve. One of our proposals is in respect to the Marco Deniza public housing located in one of Phoenix's food deserts. This underutilized parking lot can be used to create a source of energy that can power an aeroponic vertical garden which grows crops with less water usage. By adding grid gardening, there is additional fresh produce for the community to tend to. According to the USDA, around 14% of Arizonans live in Maricopa County's 55 food deserts or areas of food injustice. This disproportionately affects families of color in low-income urban areas. One of those low-income areas is in downtown Phoenix off of Jackson and First Street. We took the current underused parking lot and divided the space into 3 areas of use. The first is a street front marketplace to buy and sell fresh produce to the community. The second includes affordable housing units available to those employed by the farm or to those within the community who are in need. The third area is the farm itself, which would be divided into a gridded farming system dense with vegetation. Each 12 by 12 lot within the grid system would be a complete ecosystem in and of itself, sustained through the diverse relationships between its component parts. The system operates as a complete whole that works with rather than against nature. Following with the philosophy of permaculture, each grid would be composed of 6 layers, creating what is known as a food forest. Food forests can be adapted to any climate. Our food forests would support native crops to the desert to be as water efficient as possible. The layers of this system begin with the canopy layer, which involves tall trees such as mesquite or orange trees. The shrub layer is a layer of plants with limited heights that are shaded by the canopy layer. This would include berries and corn. The herbaceous layer is a diverse variety of culinary and medicinal herbs. Such plants would include basil or spinach. The ground cover layer are plants that grow very close to the ground and add nutrients and organic matter to the soil. Crops such as melons and squash are included in this layer. The rhizosphere is the root layer and includes organisms that help sustain the soil, such as sweet potatoes, mushrooms, insects, and worms. The vertical layer would include vines such as lima beans and trailing rosemary. By being aware of the climatic limitations of the Sonoran Desert, we can create a much more sustainable food supply that has a minimal impact on our environment while empowering communities through education and a shared ethos of nature. In conclusion, if Phoenix used only about 5% of its urban spaces for urban agriculture, then the city could meet its sustainability goals concerning local food systems. There are nearly 28 square miles, or 5.4% of city space, currently available for urban agriculture use. If we utilize this space in the way Punta Mona has, then we would be able to supply the city with 183,000 tons of fresh produce per year, allowing for a delivery of native and local assortment of fruits and vegetables to all of the families living in the city's existing food deserts.